Hello, guys. Today we have with us two people from GoodShort who are here to tell us about the industry of microdramas as a whole and also talk about their occupations and what they do to make this space what it is. So let us welcome Anthony Lien and Carla Rodriguez from GoodShort. Hello. Please introduce yourselves.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having us here. My name is Karla Rodriguez. I am the head of talent relations and brand partnerships at GoodShort's. But my role touches a lot of different intersections. I executive produce the Good Chat podcast where we highlight our actors, but also my team is in charge of social media and leading PR efforts.
Yes. Hi, I am Anthony Lien, and I am a casting talent and partnership executive at GoodShort's. I started out in producing and casting, which gave me experience on both the creative and business side of production. And over time, my role has expanded to include talent strategy, industry relations, and brand partnerships. So on top of the casting, I focused on bringing talent, creators, and brands together and creating new opportunities and helping the vertical entertainment industry continue to grow.
How far do you think the microdrama industries has come since like 2 3 years ago when so few people knew about it and now that it's growing so fast?
Wow. I mean, that's a great answer. I think we're still in the early stages. I know that it's come a long way, right? But I think we're still in the early stages. I think you'll continue to see a higher production quality, stronger IP collaborations, and possibly more recognizable talent and much deeper brand integration. So, vertical storytelling is becoming another legitimate format with the entertainment landscape. So, even though it has changed a lot from its inception when, early 2023 in the US to now, I still believe that as a whole, it's still in its early stages.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can definitely see the growth like based on like because in the US, union production, like STAG production, is always really high standard and really like it's basically Hollywood standard. And then we can see from like us like vertical industry being called as a TikTok movie to like nowadays we do have intimacy coordinator, we have stunt coordinator, we make sure talents and all the actors are their health is our priority. Health and safety is priority right now.
Okay. So as you both come from a creative background in the industry and you are now producing shows, how do you make sure the content or let me say quality of the content matches for your viewers so that the viewers who are joining Good Shot, they're getting what they came for. How do you make sure of that?
You want to take that, Anthony?
Yes. So I have to say, Vertical is a very data-driven platform, right? Like the world, and GoodShort is one of them, and like one of the top platforms. So we do have the data collections. We do have our team to tell us, oh, which show has more view, which show has not. And we also have a very strong fandom base. So we pretty much engage with all these uh, fandoms, fans who love our show, who follow our shows. We keep in touch with them, also running data. So both sides, right? Like we run data, we know what show is popular, what show is not popular. We hear from fans about their opinion, about their ideas, and then we improve every month, every week, every time we release the project.
Yeah, no one, I mean, he couldn't have said it any better. And this is the reason why I love having Anthony part of my team. So, I think what also makes us different is we create premium vertical dramas that are designed for mobile first audiences. So we know that people often compare vertical content to short form content, but in reality, I believe that they're very different experiences. Our audiences they invest in characters and stories the same way audiences have connected with television. So vertical dramas, I do think that especially Good Short, like we aim to have premium vertical dramas, and we give the audiences what they ask for, especially within the talent relations side, within the social media. Like we're constantly trying to figure out how can we best meet them where they already are.
Okay, so I could be wrong about this, but I read somewhere that the micro dramas, especially Real Short, Good Short, these companies often adapt web novels that have a huge fandom beforehand. So is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say every vertical platform has this same ecosystem, but what I can say is that as far as Good Short and the other top two leading vertical platforms, they do have an ecosystem where they tap from their web novel services, and the more successful stories they essentially verticalize, and then you get to see them in the vertical platforms such as Good Short and the other two.
So
Yes.
Carla,
And
this
then
is
Good
for
Short,
you.
sorry, now go ahead. I think
No,
Karla
no,
answered the question.
finish yourself. Finish.
No, I just want to on top of that, just want to say like good novel is actually just think about they're our parent company, right? So we have like millions of the IP that we own. We have an in-house writer team like to make the novel like really popular in the industry. And whatever the novels like really popular or hit, we would try to make it into vertical and see how the audience reacts. And that's kind of like how this mother and kids works together.
Okay. So this is for you, Carla. How do you decide which brand, which company is good for a vertical show, or have they become more open since the all the rise that has happened in the industry? Have they become more open to investing?
You mean the brands?
Yes. How do you decide which
Yes.
brand is good for you and for stories that you want to tell?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to the notion of like we're in the very early stages, and my from my perspective, it feels like brands want to get into this space, but they're also trying to figure out how to best do it and how to best allocate their budgets to be able to still have their brands be seen outside of a traditional commercial, right? So for us, for Good Short, we've noticed that the more events, the more we are open to letting brands know that we are looking for partnerships, we get a return back. And also, a lot of brands have reached out to us, and they're interested in trying to figure out what does a partnership look like with Good Short. So we're exploring that as we speak. And to answer your question in terms of like, what's the good brand for Good Short to partner up with, we let our higher ups make those decisions, but obviously we want to make sure that their core audiences have common ground with our audiences. So right now our demo is leaning heavily towards women, so it would only make sense for a brand to, if their demographic is also for women, for it to make sense to partner up with Good Short. But also, if you watch any of the vertical dramas, there's a lot of tropes of like billionaires and, CEOs. And so you'll see a lot of like very luxurious cars, right? There's a lot of scenes where like the car comes in and it's like a really nice Rolls Royce or, like a Maybach. And so this opens up the opportunity for luxury brands to be able to tap into this industry as well. We saw that Dior recently did a vertical drama. I'm not sure who they are distributing with, but we know that they are also tapping into this medium. So it's not just your regular brands, but it's also the luxury brands we're tapping into because it's the nature of vertical dramas. It kind of goes back to its origins of like the CEOs, the billionaires, the wealthy heirs, and all of those different stories that everybody knows and loves.
So you told me about the demographic and some titles that perform well. So is there any certain genre that outperforms all of the others in this medium?
What would you say, Anthony?
Uh, outperform. It's really that's the interesting part of vertical. Like we are expanding our genre day by day, every week, and the data just show us like people will stick with like specific genre for a month, and then we will jump into like, for example, this month will be like more focused on revenge. The next month, people will love to see more like a fiction, like a werewolf, vampire. So it's very interesting when you see those results. It's just like YouTube. Like there's always the viewers is so high for sudden like this month, and then next month have a different attention grabbing shows or content that people want to watch it. So and that's the thing we try to expand our genre as well. Things, but apparently we do have like big portion of the audience that they love a revenge story. They love like more of female driven content. But while we creating all those 80% of the content that they want to watch, we still have this 20% of the creative inside to expand in our genre, to expand it to a different audience. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
that
to,
answers it.
add a little bit to that too, it's no secret that romance and its subgenres perform very well, right? Because it's very soapy, it's very over the top, and so it lends itself well for those the cliffhangers, those beats
Yeah.
every episode, right? So it makes it easier for us to be able to have a inciting incident, a hook, if you will, and a cliffhanger every single episode without feeling disruptive, and more so feeling like it's a seamless loop that you can binge, and you would just want to know more and more. I mean, vertical dramas were actually intended to not be consumed all at once. They were intended to be bite sizes, so that when you're at the DMV or when you're online, like in line, you pull up your phone and you can easily watch 20 episodes of any microdrama, and you can put it down, and when you get home you pick it back up, and it's easy to pick up, right? Like it's not so complex. But we're also seeing that a lot of the fans are just consuming it all at once, and so what we thought was a bite-sized snackable content, we're now seeing that the data tracks people, fans and viewers watching watching projects from beginning to end all at once. So it's a very interesting take. But again, because romance is the more dominant genre doesn't necessarily mean that maybe a year from now, maybe 6 months from now, we'll see horror take over and dominate the genre in terms of viewerships, or also even faith-based. I think I heard of an app. Their focus is just faith-based, so religious, types of stories, which in a way, I guess you can say they can also lend itself well for consuming it all at once. But yeah, I think the more we explore with genres, despite them probably not doing very well in the beginning, and the more we continue to create content for these different genres, the better data we'll be able to get in terms of like what people want to watch.
Okay, so as you said before that Good Short has a primarily female audience, right?
Correct. Yes, mostly are female
Yes.
driven. Yes, the
Yes.
audience.
So are you also trying to get the male audience as well?
Yes, yes,
And
that's part of our
what
strategy.
kind of content are you making for that?
For male-driven content, we tend to produce something like more action, more like with everything with like action. I feel like male as a male audience, like we would love to watch something more science fiction, more like a heavily action involved or psychological thriller stuff like that.
Hmm.
And that's the part we try to expand it to, and having like a dedicated writer teams to kind of like fully engage with that content. So that's still, in the cooking. Like we produce once a while about those kind of female driven content. But again, like we are still testing out, see how people react. And if it gets better, we will have to heavily invest in that part.
Yes. So, as both of you are in talent acquisition, so let me ask you, if a young filmmaker wants to break into the vertical drama industry, where should they start?
Oh my God. You know, I had a couple filmmakers ask me this question, and um and I was on set when they basically wanted to have like a one-on-one just to kind of pick my brain and, see how they can get into this space. And so when they asked me that, it felt like no-brainer to say, then come PA for a vertical set. Get to understand how things work here, get to meet people here, because a lot of it is pretty much word of mouth, and a lot of it is pretty um, usually the way that productions or the producers will bring on filmmakers is if they already have experience within the vertical space. Like, has this person directed a vertical drama before? If no, then at least they'll say, well, hey, this person has AD'd for vertical drama, so they understand the process. So my advice is always get on set. Even if you're a filmmaker, it's not beneath you to be a PA. It's not beneath you to just come in from the bottom, understand what the set is like, and it's no different from Hollywood. It's just a little more fast paced. But try to build that community, because when you move up, somebody will see you and they'll be like, oh, this person wants to AD, or this person wants to get an understanding of how vertical dramas are directed, and people are very open about it. So that's the way that I've seen folks come up from from essentially the production ladder to becoming the vertical filmmakers that they are now. Um, we've had a lot of filmmakers that say, well, I've directed this TV show and I've directed many films, and that's great. But if they don't have the vertical experience and they don't understand the certain beats that we're looking to hit, then it's not necessarily always transferable. So that's why I say go to set, make friends, like try to understand how this world is ran, so that way you can, when it's your turn and you have that opportunity, you can easily, take it.
Yes. Anthony, tell me
Yes.
what actors should do to create what actors should do to basically get attention of casting executives, uh, so that they can be cast in, you know, micro
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah. 100%.
From what,
So
because from what I
go ahead.
understand, it is very different from, legacy Hollywood castings and other things. So please expand on that.
Yes, from casting side, in order to grab our attention. So just to be clear, like we have so many projects lined up. Like so we consistently casting for project, and each project will involve about 60 to 70 people, like actors, just actors. So we don't have time to like scroll all the profile, all the submission, right? So where actions can be stand out is headshots and the completion of your profile. So then when we scroll a submission, we will immediately they will grab our attention. Like a good headshot, like a good portfolio will have us to click into it and uh, have us to send you a self-tape request. And then we will see your audition. And the audition skill is another topic. Like you have to have a clear background, a clear voice, like we can hear you, and acting. And the tips about auditioning is that we're so different than the traditional TV and film. Like we need the emotion, like immediately. We need to like the first 5 to 10 seconds. You need to let us know, like, are you a villain? Are you a lead, like innocent lead? Like those kind of acting and audition skill, it's something that vertical requires. It's not just like a traditional TV and film, like you have to build up a character and everything you show your thing. No, like when it's doing vertical tape, you have to be straightforward. Your emotion has to be ready and tell us who are you auditioning for. And that's kind of the big difference between vertical and the traditional TV and film.
Okay, so let me ask you, which vertical drama is your favorite? And if you had to recommend to someone who has never watched Double, then which title would you recommend?
Oh wow, my favorite. It's like choosing between your children.
But you
Yeah,
Especially
have to
because I
do
work with all the producers. I'm like,
right.
what
Be careful what you say.
it really is that. No, but
it.
you end
So
up.
I don't want to get you in trouble. Just tell one title that you would recommend someone that have never watched a vertical drama then.
Um, you know what? I really like a good rom-com. I like a good story uh, about romance and chemistry and seeing the lead actors like have that like tension, but not necessarily go all in and that little bit of the flirtiness. So we recently had a released vertical called oh my god, the title's so wrong, so I probably will botch it, but it's called The Billionaires and their Country Wives. But I kid you not, it's so adorable because it starts off with the mom being in church, praying God for wives for her two sons, and the two sons are obviously like this, very hot police officer and a doctor. And so these two beautiful girls come in, and sure enough, she finds them because God has sent her a sign. So uh, there's a lot of comedy, subtle comedy, within this vertical, but there's also a lot of romance and a lot of seeing the two brothers go about their journeys, falling in love with these two women. And so that's my favorite. But again, I'm a sucker for rom-com. I love romance, and so I think I have the perfect job. I don't know. What about you, Anthony?
Okay, I'm gonna say, okay, this is no secret. Like the show has one of the most popular drama. It's called Blood and Bones of His Own Daughter. This show has been the number one since like just a year ago. So definitely check it out if you love kind of like family drama, regrets, kind of revenge, kind of this drama. It's a little bit over the top, like dramatic, but if you're into it, you just get sucked into it, and then you will see why it's so popular.
Yeah, and we
Okay.
won a Webby Award with Blood and Bones of the Disowned Daughter.
Oh, that's right.
We were a Webby Award winner for silver. So we're very excited about this tremendous successful vertical that really has put us on the map. So kudos to Yubo, who is the producer for Blood and Bones. And yeah, it's Rosa, singer band, an incredible actress. I
Mhm.
definitely check it out as well.
Yep.
Okay. So for my last question, let me ask you this. What kind of content or genre or title excites you most when you are making it, and where do you see Good Shot heading with the vertical dramas in the next few years?
Hmm.
Tough
Go ahead,
question.
Anthony.
That's a tough
Uh,
question.
it's a good question actually. Let me rephrase it.
Okay.
What excites you most about the future of Good Shot, and
Okay.
what what kind of content are you excited to be making in the future?
Yes. So as we mentioned earlier, we are kind of doing more male-driven content. We want to develop into more like female-driven content, like with the male, totally different demographic and audience that we currently have. So that's very exciting. I would love, as me as an audience, I would love to have more science fiction and like more like fighting scenes, the content with the company. And I know it's been cooking. It's been cooking. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. For me, I'm really, really excited about the possibility of branded content. I think that is going to be um, the intersection that we're looking to explore into, especially for our department. We focused on, talent, relations, social media, so everything with making sure that our actors are being seen in every capacity. So for me, branded content is something that I'm really excited about, and I'm excited to be able to put our actors in front of these brands, and who knows, maybe open an opportunity for a commercial, for a TV show, for these actors to essentially catapult from vertical over to the traditional side. So that's what I'm excited about.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. Uh,
Koet, thank you so much for this
Thank
opportunity.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you for, letting us share our perspective. Ooh, truly, this division of Good Short, we really love, and we have a strong passion for elevating actors, elevating stories and making sure that we make the best stories for our audiences. And so thank you so much. And also, if we're able to help out any young filmmakers, anybody wanting to get into the vertical space, um, we're hoping that at least this gives them a glimpse of, our experience. And if anybody ever wants to reach out, they're more than welcome to do so.
Yes.
Anthony, any parting words?
I'm sorry. Yes, I totally agree with Karla said. And we are a resource that feel free to use. And then we are just here helping out the whole industry and elevate all the actors that we work with and all the future filmmakers that who wants to break into the industry. I believe vertical it will be a future thing, future industry that everyone will start to get familiar with more like in our daily life. It will become one of the options in terms of entertainment. So we would love to help this industry to get better. As it grows, we will grow as well.
Yeah.
So thank
And
you very
and
much.
that reminds me, Colwitt, that reminds me, I wanted to share with you. Um, Anthony brought up a good point. So because we are really passionate about that and helping actors catapult over to the traditional side, we partner up with Sony Pictures Television a while back, and the casting team over at the television side, they are spearheading the Elevate Emerging Actors program. So we submitted 20 actors from Good Short. So we went through our, top actors and we selected 20 to send over to the Sony Pictures Television Elevate program. And they have to audition. So it was a very extensive program where they had to submit a lot of paperwork. They had to submit their tape. There was callbacks. And so we're very excited to hear that one of our actors actually made it to the top 10 and actually to the 10 that were selected. So again, it's a testament to how we want actors to utilize us as an incubator so that later they can catapult over to the traditional side should they wish to do so. But yeah, we're very excited that we were able to do that for our actors and that they essentially they did it themselves. It's their talent that got them to where they are now. But we were able to bring people along to these opportunities that otherwise they wouldn't have had any knowledge of them.
Okay. Thank you for sharing all of this